It's gonna work. All right, is it working? Good lord. Okay. It was just like, connection is not good. It's not the good. I think it's working. All right, fingers. All right, we should be, yes, should be live. Um, hello peeps. Hello. All right. Good day to you all. Yes. All right. So some of you might be wondering why there's like a question mark, question mark, question mark, on the new races. Um, so the fifth slot is one we're still trying to debate, and so as a kind of fun thing to do on stream, um, there's a straw poll, in the description, and so there's two options that the developers are kind of, you know, we're like not set on. We're like, we've been wondering for a while now, and we can't make a decision. So instead, we're leaving it up to you. So option one is a Sharkkin Race, which is like an aquatic race of shark people, which we were like, yes, this could be heckin' awesome. I want to like, I want to live out my street shark fantasies, and be like giant shark barbarian. And option two, is is an ooze race. So you can live out your fantasies of being a gelatinous ooze. Gelatinous cube. Um, so, um, so you guys will vote on that while I discuss the other ones that we have on the table. Uh, I know. It's like there's either Shark Boy, there's no Lava Girl option. I'm so sorry. Why not both? No, we only have so much room in the book. Okay, we only have so much time for development. Um, but anyway, so yeah, you guys be voting on that. We'll see. Uh, we'll see how that turns out in the end. Um, and we'll uh, I know, both sound awesome. Don't make me choose. Um, that time I got reincarnated into slime. I like. There's so many good origin stories for both. I mean, like, did you mutate into a shark? Did you like polymorph into a shark and you couldn't polymorph back? Um, were you a slime boy? Were you a clone that didn't work out? Like, there's a lot of potential on both sides. Fire Genasi is Lava Girl. That was my thought as well. Anyway, so you guys are here to see things, and I should be doing them. There's a blank screen in front of me. So let's do like trying to decide what to do first. There's so much potential. We could go down the line. All right, we'll do Opteran first, which is the lovely, lovely moth race. Which a little bit of spoiler in the silhouette, but I had talked about it before. Um, was the oh, I should probably. I always forget to like promote myself on like social media. I should probably like do that to let people know that there's a stream. Is that a thing people do? That's probably a thing people do. uh One moment as I try to be good at self-promotion, which I despise with a passion. Uh I struggle with that even though I know I should do it more. All right. Uh should I put a link? Do I even have a link? Did YouTube even give you a link? Sometimes they don't. I don't think they did. YouTube. This is why no one streams on your platform. It's true. Alright, there we go. Oh god. The loop. to go and just get it manually, like how you guys find it, because it didn't give to me directly. Alright. YouTube, you're a special child, even though you have so much money. Alright. Anyway, so on to adorable moth children. Sweet for grass. Oh wait, spoilers. Spoilers, sweetie. What was that? We could go into that one. We can go into that one first. We could go on on a note. I already revealed it, so why not? So we'll go into the Lotl, which is baby. There doesn't need to be structure to this. We're casual, right? Alright, let me, cause is baby. Yes. So this is one that we were like, there's a lot of amphibious races in D&D, specifically the Lorcatha, that are done really poorly. That frustrate the hell out of quite a lot of us. 'Cause we don't want to limit people's ability to play fun characters and fun things. We would rather, like, have it so that you can play a fun character and no matter what the setting, essentially. So let's have a nice amphibious race that doesn't come with all the weird downsides of having to constantly being submerged in water and also be a cute axolotl at the same time. There's a Lotl axolotl. Yeah. Alright. Don't make me ban you for puns. Don't make me do it. I'll do it. No, I'm kidding. Alright. It's good. But anyway, this race was sort of a fusion of ideas because I had on the back burner some ideas for like an eel race and like a catfish race, but that sort of already exists with the Lorcatha, so they all kind of got merged together. This kind of mud puppy race. It's like, it's Lorcatha, but better this time, but less fish. Because that's really all that they've got going for them is fish. With this, I wanted to have more options of having fun, like touch-based abilities, perhaps. Even having like the eel skin that allows you to like shock enemies, and also just having the innate ability to sort of live in water and breathe in water. It's like little electrical boy is good. He just wants yeah, exactly. Setting except for ocean. Give it good dirt face. Yeah. And it kind of got revealed a little bit because this race we do plan on not only making them look like axolotls, but also having options for like newt races and that sort of thing. It's because there's so many cute, adorable like amphibians out there, and I don't know about you guys, like the grung are cute, right? But there's so many cute like little amphibians out there, and they're being underutilized by the D&D canon. I also want to kind of I love giving like player races like really absurdly long necks, similar to the canon salamanders that have like the really long necks. I don't understand why. I get why Wizards doesn't go crazy with their player races. They want them all to look like they can fit into like the standard armor. I get it. But like, I don't know, make him look a little strange. Make him look like interesting, right? make make it able to like cast spells out of your gills. Like that's just awesome. Is there unfortunately buttermations, I guess. There won't be any Artificer subclasses because Artificer is not SRD and we don't want to step on wizard's toes. That's a lot of the reason why you don't see Artificer in a lot of homebrew stuff, because it's unfortunately off the table. For yeah, it is copyrighted. So no, unfortunately, can't do that. Don't want to get sued. Um, yeah, that's sort of a lot of these are still really early in development because we didn't expect to hit some of these stretch goals. I already had an eel race that was already one that I already had, but we're trying to figure out ways how to make it more interesting and axolotl-y. So slippery skin is certainly on the table. The rogue subclasses. We do have believe we have one set up that is biomancy themed rogue. I'll have to double check Max on that. The book is so large that I often like have to consult my notes a lot of times now because of all of the stretch goals that got blasted through all of a sudden. I have to be like, okay, yes, we are developing that. It's like eventually I'll probably get down the pipeline like a note like, okay, yes, I have to make art for this. It's in the notes. Laurel Rogue. There is a Druid subclass. It's Druid of the Hive, which is a lot heavier on the insect theme. All the things. Is good. Is good boy. But yeah, development's been good. We've mostly we've encountered a few delays already just because we're still in the process of we didn't expect it to take so long for Kickstarter to even give us the funds. We've only recently started to be able to work with the funds and start production on anything. So yeah, we're slowly being able to commission other artists and work like distribute work, but it's, man, there's always so many hurdles. There's so many unexpected hurdles that it's just a learning experience, certainly. Oh, could be an angel salamander. Oh, that sounds adorable. Let's see. Yeah, I think the Artificer subclass, yeah, it might be it may now be a tamer subclass. We'll see. I'll have to consult Max on that. I'm trying to decide how I want, if I want the feet to be like floppy frog feet or more like digigrade feet. Kind of just want small feet. He's just a good boy. I again, with any of these races, because of the Tasha rules, technically their default additional stats don't really matter. as much. Um, However, uh, you still give them regardless. I I don't know if axolotls have the face of like an intelligence build, but you never know. They I I want to give them mental stats, but there's not much going on behind those eyes. I know it, and it's uh well, the Tasha's rules are where you can kind of rearrange the racial stats however you see fit. Um, some of the just so that allows you to make a an orc wizard without worrying so much about where you're placing stats or if you're really at a disadvantage. Um, it was sort of a correction that they had made. They aren't very smart, but they're slightly smarter than iguana, though. Wise beyond reason. Yes, they see into infinity. That's why they're so wall-eyed. They look up at the stars. Lord. Ah, so cute. It needs to be charisma. You know, yeah, I would be inclined to agree that it's because originally when they were an eel, it was more like conniving and cunning. But now that they're an axolotl, yeah, it's definitely charisma now, isn't it? um, but yeah, it's imagine just like casting fireballs out of your gills. It's great. It's great. Such a good boy. uh we actually went to a reptile convention with friends, and they had axolotls for sale. And good lord, they come out so small. They're like only an inch long, and it's like, oh, it's so small. It's such baby. Yes. It's a bardlotl. I see we were drawing good boys. Yes, that's correct. Um, oh my god. Yes, for people joining the stream, this is the Lotl race. Um, for you to play only good boys. I feel like by default they have to be. I can't imagine an evil axolotl. I'm sure they can exist, but like, man, yeah, I feel like it has to be charisma, dexterity, just because they feel like they're. I'm inclined to give them a like slippery feature. I'm also with all of these, because I'm indecisive as hell. I'm so tempted to give them a Simic hybrid feature where you can just sort of pick what you like. And that like gives you a lot of options, right? Where you can play like more of a newt or a salamander that has like slippery skin, or you can pick an axolotl that has better swimming and underwater breathing skills. Um, I mean that feels pretty appropriate. Uh, as far as that goes, charisma and constitution, I would perfect. I would argue axolotls don't necessarily have the best constitution. You have to keep their water quality really pure. Um, Although they can live in muck. That is right. Um, you have to make the being amphibians. You always have to be careful. So I would argue constitution maybe not, but yeah, maybe wisdom. Axolotl barbarian would be terrifying looking. uh Could you imagine like this creature like rushing at you, but it's got like an axe and it's swole as hell? Um, wait, so they can. We probably won't be we won't be doing sub races most likely. Um, we'll likely instead do, you know, the Simic hybrid route where you can choose what you want. Um, instead, because that's providing sub races just makes it just lengthens the page unnecessarily when it's more fun to just give people the option of flavoring the character however they want. Be like, okay, I want my character to look like an axolotl, but I would much rather have like the slippery skin like ability. Like that feels better. Like, because if you know that you're gonna be in a desert the entire time, like giving yourself water breathing because you took the axolotl subrace feels mean. I would say. Um, yeah, but that's just me. Uh, because I never like to force a player into like a I don't know a character build that they're not gonna use. Then again, you know, very lax DM. I'm just like, yeah, I see you've not used this feat that you've taken. It's okay if you want to swap it out, kind of thing. But then again, every DM is different, and you might be with the DM that blindsided you with a desert campaign when you made this adorable axolotl boy, and just we want to give people the option. Although it would be funny if you made your axolotl not be able to swim. Maybe they're really bad at swimming. Who knows? Oh goodness. Uh, Yes, Jack. What is your preferred name to be addressed as? Like Jess is fine. People people say just Jack or thinking it's Jack, but it's Jack Daw. Um, it's the bird. People get confused. Um, because I don't have any sort of avian theming going on. Uh, but no, originally it was just like, I like this bird a lot. I'll make it my username. And yeah. So people so it's technically just Jess or Jessie. Either one is good. Um the boy being drawn has seen some things. I mean, if it's charisma based, can you imagine making an axolotl warlock? I mean, poor thing has seen some things. Poor little guy. It's just like, I have seen into the beyond. And it is horrifying. It's all good. Ah, yeah. Frightening boy. Warlotl. Warlock of the not so deep. Of the shallow muddy pool. He's just trying to have a good time. They have the derpiest little mouths. You're just like, it's hard to make an axolotl intimidating. We'll just say that. As a prerequisite, um, they're all good aligned until stated otherwise. They're like flumps. So it's oh, it's good. It's a good boy. All right. I'm trying to think. It's a good color for the coat. Just like a blue to contrast with everything else. Very teal. if it's an axolotl, it has to be like pastels, right? Like a green. But yeah, to continue on with the story where we went to the reptile convention, there were just so many tiny little axolotls, and oh man, it's so tempting to get one, but I did not have an enclosure set up. One of our friends definitely purchased one, and I already had a enclosure ready to go. It's just like it's such a tiny baby. Depending on your region, they can be really common and available as pets, and they're not especially hard to care for. Um, it's just more about making sure you've got a really robust filter, and you can keep the water quality really, really good. That's for sure. Axolotl breeding pool cults like Yanti. Disadvantage. Oh, scary. Yeah, how would an axolotl cast fear is the main question, right? I mean, they do their best. It's more, the fear is more that you look into their eyes, their vacant stare, and you see nothing back, and you're just filled with an existential crisis of moral dread. It's like, ah, yes, my life is finite. Thank you, Axolotl or Lotl. And we've also gotten like comments about our naming conventions being very very vanilla um for all of our stuff. But that's more like not only to help the DM but like to players and other people to recognize like, okay, this is what this is. We don't really want to come up with like crazy absurd names that people forget. It's like the fantasy name syndrome, right? Where it's just like uh where you can come up with amazing names for things, but if they're not helpful, like why? Like why do it? But yes. Is there a barbarian subclass in the book? I don't, unfortunately, I don't think we've got a barbarian subclass in the book. I don't think. That might change. Because Heliana is a tamer class. Um so unfortunately, yeah. I'm sorry. We can't do every subclass. Um but we tried to like not double up on any. I think the only one we did double up on was maybe the bard, but it is what it is. But let's see. I'll eat a lot of insects. Two models hunt. Yeah. So yeah. So going about um on their actual hunting and cultural aspects. We like pictured them more being very very zen um creatures, just because they come off that way. I know that in the wild they're ruthless like hunters of like worms and insects and the like. Um and honestly, I do love the idea of a like Lotl monk like meditating and um just being very chill, and then opening up their wide mouths and just engulfing a like like a fire beetle or something, just eating it whole. All of their rations are just like bugs or large insects. It would be pretty great. It's just horrify your entire party. It's pretty good. So don't worry, they're not going to be Donald Ducking it. I just haven't put the pants on yet. Soon it will have pants. We'll see. Bug cigars. Umber Hulks beware. Good lord. Yeah, Loddles can cat pop meme. Yes, it's true. Whenever they open their mouths, it's just like a perfect circle. They're just like, ah. They're very precious. They're too wholesome for this world. Good lord. They're just good boys. Good boys, girls, and babies. That was also another thing that was, at least I considered. I don't know. I haven't. Some of these things we still need to meet about regarding the races. So if I say things on here that weren't confirmed by the rest of the crew, I apologize in advance, other crew. Because we've mostly been having to meet about, like book hiring people, book organization, financial, legal IP stuff, like meeting with lawyers. It's been the gross part of like developing a book. Sorry, we don't mean to. And we haven't really had a chance to. We have been working on the fun start stuff of the book, but mostly it's been handling the aftermath of the Kickstarter. But yes. Anyway, what I was saying before, I considered making the Lotl like a fully non-binary race, so they don't have a really concept of gender, because that just feels appropriate for amphibians that can have the option to you know, go back and forth or be very non-distinct in the very least. I know Lotl, you can definitely sex them, but I don't know. Out of all the creatures, like Axolotl feels the most non-binary to me. And it could be fun. maybe confuse educating the party on such matters. Hey, hermaphroditic species. Yeah. What hunts the lizard wizard? Oh god, it's good. Yes. Yes, I will include a few D&D fusions in the book. Not all of them. That may be a separate book in the future, but some of the favorites will make their way as perhaps familiars in the book. So, because we want to make sure that like the tamer gets maybe a few good monster options at early levels, because that can be kind of hard. Because at least the first few levels, at least due to testing, are a little, there's a little bit of slim pickings monster wise at low CR levels, and having more fun monster options is always a good thing. But yes, an army full of rats is good. The wild mage, I don't think there's plans for. That would be a really hard thing to tame, and also it's kind of fucked up because it's a lichen. So that would probably be a future book thing. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Uh, but yes, is good boy. It's good. Is of course good boy. Um, but yes, we'll probably finish up the rough of this. Then we can maybe go on to the next one. We'll see. I'm curious to. I don't want to peek until the end, but I'm very curious how the poll is going with the two options. Oh, I should mention again for people that are new to the stream, there is a poll in the description, a straw poll. The reason why there's a question mark is because uh our team could not come to a decision on one of the races, which one to pick. So we're leaving that up to this very stream. So after the stream is done, the poll close. So the two you have to pick from are the Sharkkin, which is a shark humanoid race, and the Oozekin, which is obviously an ooze based player race. Both are very good boys. Yeah, if we're talking non-binary races, like I feel like the ooze race would probably take the cake. I don't know if ooze can have a gender. Like, I suppose they can if they're sentient. They can do whatever they want. Sludgy Sun. Slime Girls for the win. Oh god, like Ross's Slime Girl. Slamantha, I think it was. Ah. Lord. It's very tempting to go full. They ooze can. I want both. I'm very sorry. That was sort of the controversy we had, right? Where we didn't want to disappoint people by giving them the option. But we really honestly could only go for one more. But we have plans for book 2, so you never know. It might make its way into book 2, even if it doesn't happen here. So the ooze kid ginger just means color. Because it makes no sense to them. I mean that's totally fair. Do you think instead of hair dye they just get food coloring and like dump it onto themselves to be a different color for a while? For the ooze kid. Oh goodness. Oh, such a good boy. A good little like good baby. This little axolotl. Lord, I feel like I'm very tempted to give I know you're not usually not as advantageous to give 2 mental stats to a character, but I mean I want to encourage axolotl druids because they feel like the best druid race. Because they're so chill. They also would make amazing monks because they're so chill. So I'm very much leaning between either charisma or dexterity for these boys. It's good boys. But yeah, I feel like the 3 kind of main abilities that we have planned thus far are like an eel skin ability, where you can sort of cast Shocking Grasp as a cantrip, or another optional is obviously a swim speed, like maybe even an increased swim speed. I feel like they would all get a swim speed by default, but having an enhanced swim speed. Or another optional one would be like the slippery skin, being able to get out of grasp, and maybe at higher levels being able to like cast grease or something. Could be a fun one Race is such an amazing ability. With your little slippery self. Just like all the slipperiness. Although that might be more appropriate for the Oozkin, we'll see. We shall see. Such a good little boy. Little baby. Cast caution, wet floors. His favorite is babe. Yeah, I mean, they are. Unfortunately, that's actually like most. A lot of creatures are cannibals. You'd be surprised. I mean, like, mice can be cannibals. Like, there's a lot of mammals that can be cannibals. Like snakes are cannibals. So, like, the I don't know if it's like, I guess you could add it. We could add it to the race, but like, when that's the default for like most animals, to be cannibalistic. Usually animals without like social hierarchies or sort of any, yeah, it, or any kind of groupthink. I'm blanking on the word, but usually are at least mildly cannibalistic by nature. That's just the optimal way, right? You're just like, you're not useful to me, now you're food. But that be how it do. Certainly be how it do. Let's do such a good boy. Such a precious boy. No one should be able to harm him. Absolutely no one. You're not my child, consumes. I can see, I can probably repost the poll. It should be in the description, though. In theory, YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, it should be the straw poll link. It should be there. It's telling me it's there at least. But I can post it in the thing. It's all good. All right. Go. It's like, stay away from me, my son. It's good boy. Let's see. Start the process of cleaning this up. I usually just kind of block in colors and then just slowly refine over time. But yeah. Oh, if people were wondering, as to why I was at the Reptile Convention looking at axolotls, it's because not only me, but the rest of the crew, had an accord where, if the Kickstarter did well, because it's a familiar-based Kickstarter, that we would all get, reward ourselves with, some new pets. And I wanted to get a new snake. Not that I'm replacing Spork or anything. Spork is a good boy. It was just, I wanted to, I've always heard good things about ball pythons, and I was like, oh, I've never had a ball python. I would like to also partake in the good noodle. And I didn't get one yet. I haven't. We went to the convention, but it was, I didn't see any that I liked, and unfortunately, well, I saw ones that I liked. However, all of them had been fed live, and I didn't want to spend the time to transition them to like frozen thawed rodents. Because that can be kind of difficult, especially if they're a very young snake. I didn't want to keep live rodents in the house. So unfortunately I didn't see any at the convention. But I might be receiving one from a different breeder so soon, fingers crossed. Oh, thank you, Idan. It's very kind. But yeah, so maybe Thicky Boy. Yeah, ball pythons are especially hard to transition off live. Yeah, I wanted to it's a lot harder to find uh ball pythons that were given frozen thawed at the get-go. It's incredibly hard. But I have found a few breeders, and I'm looking into getting a good boy. Um so yeah, we'll see. Speaking of good boys, I will start working on, yeah, more cleanup for this boy. And for a long time, I couldn't decide what kind of ball python morph that I wanted, because there are so many to pick from. Unlike hognoses, there's not a hognoses don't really have that many morphs going on. Um, but ball pythons, good lord, you are overwhelmed with choice, and all of them, seem very sweet. Druid of the Muck subclass, please. That might be a good idea for book 2. We'll see. Good lord. That would be amazing. Just be here is Slime Druid. I actually did have a Simic hybrid Druid character idea that was very similar. Where instead of becoming animals, like wild shaping into animals perfectly, it would just be kind of like a slime version of those animals, and they wouldn't quite look right. Like you just sort of shapeshift slime. It's just like, yes. It's totally a wolf with its many extra unnecessary appendages. I'm glad you're able to catch one, Densoro. But yes. You had to give a 1 to 10 scale where content in the book, how much is finished, and not in a pushy give us book now in a curious manner. Okay, that's a really complicated answer to give, because for a lot of us, this is sort of our first foray into a book of this magnitude, and we're already encountering things that we didn't expect to have to deal with, such as like kind of hiring an IP lawyer because there's going to be a second book, and to like hashing that out, filling out contracts for artists, how that works, making sure that the legality is kosher, all of that, that we just weren't expecting, because we totally expected this would be just small, like very small magnitude, like, okay, we'll just produce a little content for the book, but now that we've added a lot of things, and that the scope has increased like tenfold, yeah, it's gonna be a lot. We're doing our best to account for all of those things. So far, a lot of the adventures and the crafting mechanics, tracking mechanics, and that sort of thing have already are laid out. It's a matter of making sure they're all polished, making sure they're all play tested before the book goes out, making sure like because we also didn't expect to be able to have the ability to potentially hire uh like commission out artists. So we hope to get more art for the book than we anticipated initially. So there's that too, and we want to make sure that those artists have enough time as well, because I don't want to force an artist to endure the how do you say unreasonable deadlines that I set for myself. So that's another thing, right? Um, because we wanted to be able to have the funds to pay them appropriately, and yeah. So we'll see. Um, yeah. It what's really been kind of like yeah crazy about that. I've never been on the opposite end of the hiring process. So it's been kind of like an awkward phase of like, do you want to work on this? Here are some descriptions. Does this help? I don't know what I'm doing. So it's yeah, it's been a time. Um but we're all certainly working our butts off, and we're gonna try to get it to you as soon as possible, but we don't want to ever rush a product. So it's a tentative. It's next year. Um, we're gonna do our best. Our rough estimate is maybe March. We're hoping if everything goes smoothly. For some of the manufacturers, we're still like trying to hear back on a couple things on like estimates for the extra content as well. Uh, Giving us a timetable on how fast they could produce it. So it's a lot of things. Um, so is there a Discord for you and the fans? The Discord and the Kickstarter let me to Loot Tavern. So I'm on the Discord on the Loot Tavern. I can't always be on. I don't really plan on also thank you for the $10 by the way. That's very sweet. I don't plan on making a Discord. Um I don't know if my like time is best spent that way cuz managing a Discord is its own can of worms that can be uh with someone with like social anxieties as much as I do, like I don't like I don't like playing the manager. That's not a really good headspace for me, and I would have to figure out getting moderators and stuff. And unfortunately, it's not something that I'm interested in right now. I'm sorry to say. I know a lot of people have been asking for a Discord, but yeah, I not that you guys aren't all wonderful people. From all the other creators that I've talked with that have done Discords, they've certainly regretted their decision. Because it can become a cesspool really fast. Um, and it can yeah. it's it's something that's really hard. It's almost like a full-time job to if it grows really quickly. So yeah, yeah. Just for now, that's a no from me, fam. Um, at least at the moment. Uh, but good ideas though. I certainly love joining discords and participating in them, but I don't. It's not something that I want to do at the moment. Um, yeah, it's like it's one of those Do you want a Just Jackdaw Discord, or do you want the book to be out sooner? um, that's one of those things. Oh, look at these little poofy pants. He's a good boy. I should probably move on to other things, but I'm getting wrapped up in Laudel. That's fine. I don't know if I like the face as it is. Kind of like it's very hard to nail that like placid axolotl face. That's for sure. They've got a very 1,000-yard stare. Good lord. How big is the boy? I think the Lottles will be medium sized. So and I think we might be increasing the moth, who was originally a small race, to medium as well, just to because Max doesn't want to design any more any more small races because of all the drawbacks that come with it. And I told him, like, yeah, but do we have to do drawbacks? Can it just be for flavor? But I don't know. It's one of those do we follow the canon, or do we just do our own thing? But such a shiny boy. Such an adorable shiny boy. Do the Delotl eat grung? Yeah, well, I feel like unlike other humanoid races, this is that Lotls are more tribalistic. This that I would imagine. That they wouldn't turn it down. They would cat pop face overtake grung, and they just no. Because just like actual axolotls, they you know, you put it in front of their face and it's gone. My god. Yeah, it can that's what I imagine as well. Um be multiple sizes. Cause like just let people choose. Don't put people in a box. Um because that's more fun that way. So if you wanted to like play a tiny Lotl, you can. If you want to be tall Lotl, tall Lotl, you can. Do they have sun sensitivity like kobolds? It would make sense, but like, it's similar to like the Lorcatha thing, right? Where it's the nice thing about kobolds is that the sun sensitivity you can get rid of with pack tactics pretty easily. If we were to do that, I would want to have some sort of engine for them to even out their disadvantage on the fly, similar to a kobold. Because that would suck. Because most of the time there's a lot of encounters in the daytime. So yeah, I don't want to like, just because it's realistic, just to shit on a player that would want to play it. Similar to how like the original orcs had like -2 to intelligence. It was something absurd. And not a lot of good things at all. But yeah, just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's like fun for a player to engage with. Have I ever heard of an Olm? I keep seeing that in the chat. I don't know what that is. What is that actually a canon newt race? That I assume that there are I mean, no idea is fully original. I assume that they probably already exist. Um, can I have a 9 foot tall axolotl baby? I mean, barbarian axolotl, right? You could. Um, yeah, the orc librarian in Skyrim, like a word with the original orc writers. That's 100% true. Uh, yeah, I would imagine that given the locale that axolotl inhabit, like in Central America, that more of a jungle environment. So it's entirely possible that they encounter each other. All right. There's a lot more that I need to do with this little guy, but it's a good starting point at least. Um he's a cute little bean. All right. We will go forward. Let's see. All right. Yep. And try out the moth beans. Little moth beans. Ah, that are so good. That are too pure for this world. Um God. So these are the Opterans. And as discussed previously, they do have um they are based on the silkworms, um who are God, the silkworm moth, who have been overbred to the point where they have lost most of their ability to fly. Um, the Opterans have a very sort of tragic history of uh, being being raised for their ability to produce silk, and whether or not you choose to use such canon for your own devices is of course up to you. Um, baby grub. Uh, yeah, and because like anything, it's optional to use in your campaigns, but it's always interesting to figure out a way that your particular character got away from the horrible conditions of breeding for silk. Your like good little squishy boy um is now an adventurer, gonna take on the world and get revenge on such things. And it could even be possible that like not a lot of people have seen Opterans outside of, you know, being farmed, I suppose. So it could encounter similar conditions as to tieflings, where just like, oh, are you even sentient? Are you okay? Are you a monster? So could be some fun things to add to your game, or instead, if you would rather not include those things, you could just say, ah, I'm a part of the Fae. Um, I'm an awakened moth. I got big. Um, so yes, about flying, because people were wondering about that. Uh, so they do have a limited fly speed. That is something that we wanted to make sure, because the Aarakocra, a lot of DMs don't don't particularly like having what is it, a like, it's like a 50 foot or maybe a 60 foot fly speed at the get go. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Uh, so we considered that the fly speed would be limited, so you could maybe a 15-foot fly speed, as their like adult moth forms. So you could essentially fly. Oh, another $5 question. Uh, Thank you, Gabriel. The game comes out. Send Fantasy Ground version to my DM. Yeah, that's totally fine. We are developing the Fantasy Ground version as well. So I think that was late in the campaign that we announced that. So not everyone, because we weren't sure whether or not we'd be able to. But yes, we'll be coming to Fantasy Grounds. We'll also be coming to Roll20. However, Roll20 didn't allow us to use any of their iconography or to on the Kickstarter page, which is bizarre. So a lot of people were confused about that, whether or not we produced for. But yes, all of the major VTTs we're working on getting all of the adventures onto the platform so that your DMs can easily run the adventures, because that was always such a convenient thing for our groups that played online. And we noticed that a lot of Kickstarters didn't really provide much in that department, so we wanted to like certainly help out in that regard. Yeah. I kind of want the little buds to also be the same color, like it's almost like a little mask. I know caterpillar faces are more horrifying than anything, so I'm just making it cute. It's gonna be a cute little baby. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they look cute, like Hollow Knight. So in addition to that, with the sort of caterpillar to moth race, still, as with before, it's like with some other races like Asimar and blanking on a few, like Tiefling, that have abilities that only manifest at later levels. You have the option. You don't necessarily have to, but you can start off level 1 as a caterpillar, and then at later levels, we're thinking probably 5th level, granting the ability to fly, and changing into the having an increased movement speed, when you become the moth side, and maybe even like increased charisma or something, because you're not a little dinky caterpillar. And because most DMs usually start off their players at 3rd level, it didn't feel that much of a hurdle to get over, and it also might be like a fun character moment of your party seeing a cocoon when they wake up and then being like, oh, okay. And similar to Kinku, and moths themselves, Opterans don't live particularly long, but they certainly strive to do as much as they can on this with the small amount of time that they have, which is certainly commendable. We were thinking, for the default, we don't want to keep doing charisma. If we're doing charisma for the axolotl, originally, charisma was planned for the Opterans, but it's always a rough patch. Like charisma dexterity. We can't keep doing charisma dexterity for everybody. Um, so Axolotl might end up being wisdom, um, and we'll see. I mean, it's a it's a winning combo, charisma dexterity, but like we'll see. Lotto could have con. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we could do Lotto with con cuz to be fair, like I I think of dexterity for Lottos being the fact that they're like slimy and easy to like maneuver and move about. But you're right. Anyone that has kept an axolotl as a pet, they're not very fast. You could easily just kind of scoop them up. Um, so yeah, maybe they're more of the con route. They definitely aren't strength. Um, it might actually be a fun because we did this for a few of the other races. Keeping the mental stat open. Um, and then just having like con and then choose choose what you want for your +1 in a mental stat. Um, right. So +2 con, +1 in a mental stat. So that way it gives you options, and I like options because it's like it's really silly to pigeonhole your characters, or especially if you've got stubborn DMs that are just like, no, I don't want to make you be able to do that. But then again, if they're allowing you to do Heliana's homebrew, like they're probably fine DMs as is. They got good taste. No. Um, as a moth daddy, can I defeat Thanos? Oh, yeah, that is a good point. +1 to defeating Greek death gods as oh yeah, and there's speaking of, there's so many good moths to I mean the silkworm moth is like the inspiration, but you could certainly do quite a lot to or have a lot of options as far as making your own character, uh because there's so many cool moths. There really are, like the Death's Head moth. You got your like Atlas moth. Got like Rosy Maple moth, which is the one that I based on it originally in the Kickstarter. Um, but yeah, I also tried to solve the problem with it having too many limbs, with it being kind of like a centaur. Um, you could only hold 2 hand slots just because you have multiple hands. We're not gonna break the game there. Um, there might be something there. I've actually tried to make a race that has an additional hand slot. Previously, it was like the additional slot was the tail. And it it wasn't it wasn't too broken. Um, so long as you limited the slot to being just like auxiliary items and it couldn't be a weapon. Uh, usually that was okay. Because most DMs hand wave um a lot of uh like holding torches and stuff, and anyway. Um, so how big is the baby grub? It's so Max might get mad at me, but I mean, I would like for you to be able to start off as a small race and then become a medium race, because I just think that's fun. Um, just suddenly be like tiny small boy. Um, but if preferred, um, you can always be a small race, stay a small race. Um, if that's more your style. Uh, Yeah, it's always good stuff. It's interesting. Um, but no, I always it's like I don't care. I want the grub to be small. I feel like that's that would be the best. So cute. Vote in the description. Ah, smaller hands. Yeah, smaller items makes sense. Yeah, I can always workshop the hand slot rule that I had made previously to see, because it's so long as you're preventing players from being like, I'm holding a sword in every hand and I'm going to use all of them. It's yeah, you're still gonna be limited on action economy anyway. So it's usually not that much of an issue. I say that we're gonna end up with like play testing and like someone's gonna find something broken about it. I say like an idiot. Um, underestimates the power of power players. um, the moth race hunted by ettercaps. Oh no, yeah. Um, the God, the 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 drow that are worshippers of Loth just hunt them for sport. um, what do the grubs and moths sound like? We've never really talked about accents. That's a strange thing, right? I don't I don't honestly know. I feel like it's not something that I've really thought about. Because what accent does a human have? Like it can be any accent. Um so that's limiting that or for a player race is a little bit strange. It's like how usually orcs are portrayed as like Russian or like Cockney or not Cockney, but like we usually like it's like a deep Russian voice when it's like that might be playing into like odd stereotypes. I don't know. um I don't know. I almost picture like a more cutesy version of Zoidberg for like the caterpillar. And then I guess for the more moth race, it's more of a graceful and elegant kind of demeanor. Um, as a caterpillar, you're just a mess and you eat everything. And then as a moth, you almost take on a different persona. Could be fun. Could be fun. Um, or like if you want to go the Pixar Bugs Life route and you want to stay a caterpillar but you still want the fly speed, you can just be a caterpillar with tiny wings. I mean, you could make it work. um oh god. Good lord. Wait, I yeah, I don't know. Wait, orcs are portrayed as Russian or you know what I mean. Like the uh or like a Cockney like accent or so. Um I don't know accents, okay? Are Mothrace allies with a Thrycreen? I don't aren't Thrycreen really territorial? Um they're like psionic and like angry at everything that moves usually. Um yeah, I don't know. I feel like um this moth race is kind of like the outcast to most of society. I don't know if they're necessarily welcome in most spaces because they've been cultivated for so long. Um, but yeah, it's oh god, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent. It it's sort of like the equivalent thought of like everyone you know loving and eating bacon, and then suddenly you have an adventurer like with you who's a pig, and it's like an awakened pig. It's like, oh, it's that sort of weird dichotomy that's probably going on with the Opterans, where it's like, oh, you're like the silk weavers, and you produce silk, and we didn't realize you were sentient, um, sort of thing. Uh, yeah, goodness, it was a kobolds and gnomes, outlaw moth who eats vests. Yes. The party wakes up and there's holes in all of their clothing. Be pretty great. Um, it's good. Yeah, that's. We're talking about an awakened pig. Okay, there's magic involved. It's like it's one of those situations. Um, but yeah, it's good stuff. I think. I did see people were saying, like, oh yes, I finally get to play Caterpie, the best Pokemon. It's just like, oh yeah, could be, you can live out your fantasies of being Ash's Butterfree and flying free forever. It's a good time. Yeah, everyone's saying that like an awakened pig would eat themselves. It's like, okay, well, that goes the same for like most farm animals would probably eat eat the meat of their kin if given the chance, especially chickens. If you feed a chicken, it's yeah, it's it's kind of messed up. But it's what it is. See, Purple King rise up. Um, but yeah, um, some of the main reasons why I wanted like a moth race is that uh Logan, my roommate, played a moth in our campaign. We struggled to find a good um a good homebrew for it. We had to end up just like using like a fairy race homebrew and like making it work. Um and it was still pretty like broken and not really balanced very well, because it gives you like a really fast movement speed and like a tiny race, and you're really hard to hit, and it's just like, ah, that's not gonna make the DM very happy. Because a race, like, you really shouldn't be getting the bulk of your powers from a player race. Like, a player race is more giving you auxiliary abilities to interact with the world, um and then maybe one combat ability that's good. Um and that's kind of the short and skinny of developing a good player race. Um then again, people are going to be like, it's like, but Tabaxi is like so good. Like, I can like break the sound barrier if I take Tabaxi and the the mobile feat, and then be a monk, and then be, it's like, no, okay, but it's like um uh, as vanilla, like, player races aren't supposed to be too spicy. um That's at least my mantra when developing a player race. It should be more about giving players a mode to uh interact with the world in a more unique way. Um and giving players the tools to do so easily. Dragonborn are the best. Min maxers will always find a way. Yeah, it's good. Um Good lord. Oh, make his staff have a spool of silk on the top. That's Rex. You're coming up with so many good ideas. Oh, that's so good. Let me do that really quick. Ah, genius, genius of this boy. Second. My reference image is smaller. Also, look how tiny this moth is. They're so cute. We had a really cute moth. Um, on the just chilling on our door the other day. It was a beautiful. I forgot to look up exactly what kind it was, but it was a really deep, a deep reddish color. It wasn't your hickory horn devil maple moth fair. It was different. It looked more like a hawk moth. But it was like a really beautiful dark red, like a deep blood red. Um, and it's just like moths are so cool and they're so fluffy. If they were dog sized, I would have one as a pet. Like, um, just it would just be great, especially if they were too big to fly and they just kind of like walked around. I debated for like a long time, and I did my research on like on different invertebrate pets because I did think about maybe getting some invertebrates, but unfortunately, like most of them, they just don't live very long, and it's so unfortunate. Like a moth, like I kind of knew this before, but I was hoping like the bigger ones like lived a little longer, but no, it's they live for maybe a week, and then they're gone, and it's like, what? No. They're caterpillar most of their life, um, which is why I feel like it'd be interesting for this player race, um, that because they become a moth at level 5, they've only got a strict time limit to uh finish what they set out to do on this earth, um, before they expire, and having that mentality could be really cool to have as a player, to mess with, and also very sad. Um, especially like what happens if uh what exactly happens if you get hit by uh what is it like, a lot of the undead abilities like a white that has the ability to like hit um a player and extract some of their life essence and subtract some years from their life. That might be a little too spicy. Especially it's almost deadly for like anything like an Aarakocra or a Kinku because they live so, or even a kobold, they live such short lives. Would that kill them? I feel like that's DM discretion. um uh well, the reason why I asked about the Discord because I wanted to share my monster ideas from the fusion list with you and the others. Oh, well, uh I think I try to do my best to like look through. I'm not. That's the thing, right? I'm like where I don't. I like social media and I don't like social media. For my own mental health, I try not to look too long on social media, but on occasion I'll try to like browse and look at people's creations that they make and things. However, it's like, well, love to see people's creativity. I don't want to also accidentally be accused of stealing people's ideas. Um, so I try to be careful about that. Um, Rex, I'm sorry I borrowed your idea with the the things. but we have a lot of notices that I think online, that at least in the Discord or Loot Tavern, as far as any ideas that you share, we don't want to be liable as well. So anything that you share, just know that if it goes in the book or is you know, either through happenstance or osmosis or creative osmosis or something, it's not done out of any malice or any, like, it could have been that we both had a similar idea. It it but it wasn't intentional. Or if it was just an easy idea, then I think the advice that Hit Point Press gave us was that was any ideas that people give, like, we're not responsible if the ideas are used in the books, or you forfeit the ideas if they are shared with us directly. We keep trying to have that just as a safety precaution, because it's the similar thing that even Chris Perkins, and now even Critical Role with, like, that Opal controversy, where people can have very similar creative ideas, and unfortunately, like, people get a bee in their bonnet too, and they yeah. Anyway, sorry, I might be rambling. Oh, I'm grateful if my ideas would contribute. I think maybe we'll think the same way. Oh, that's very sweet, Mr. Spots. Um, yeah, that's our hope, right? We hope that, like, it's more of a creative collaboration and not a one, but we don't want to have people expect that because you had a moth character in 2006 on your DeviantArt, that you demand credit for something. That's not something that's really something you should expect. um but what was the Opal deal? It was it was a really brief controversy on Twitter where, this is why I don't get on Twitter often, because I open up Twitter and it's just like I just see a shitstorm. I'm just like, and then I close Twitter. But anyway, so a character, the voice actress for, I believe, She-Ra, plays a character called Opal, and a young, I believe the person on that was fighting them was a very a semi-prolific person on TikTok, uh in their 20s, that just decided to make a stink because she had made a similar character called Opal, that was maybe a warlock, for her D&D campaign that she does online as a podcast. And so she demanded of Critical Role to be included on the show and be credited for everything involving Opal. It's one of those situations, right? Oops, I didn't mean to. Oh no, I made a slash mark on this. I was moving my hands around and then I marked on the thing and accidentally. I don't know when I did that because it's can't undo it. Um, but yeah, post in Twitter, month ruined. Open Twitter, day ruined. Yes. Non-controversial controversies. Yeah, but that's a little bit of the issue, right? And I don't. I'm like not a person to like I don't like controversy. I don't, you know, I see people that act that way and I'm just like I don't understand. That just feels like way too much effort being put in for not a lot of payoff. Um this your day could be spent so many other ways. Why do you spend your energy on this? Which is mostly why uh I I don't get on social media that often. Um a lot of people have asked me to post on Instagram, but recently Instagram is changing their model to be more like TikTok, and now I'm like, is it worth updating my Instagram now that they're maybe only switching to movies? I I don't know. That's something that I heard at least. Um but yes, it's a time. But anyway, um but for like small things uh that you contribute during the stream, uh I can't promise any credits. And I'm very sorry. That's just how it be. Um uh yes. Thing. Wait, so were they annoyed by having their name ripped off? The full thing was that the design of the character and because they both were warlocks, both female warlocks that had a lot of their facial characteristics and motifs designed around the gemstone opal, so like the hair being, you know, uh white and their skin being like opalescent and purpley. Like it one, like the character art exists on like Steven Universe. Two, and why? Like it's just like uh when it's like I feel like the opal, the gemstone needs the credit there more than anything. That's sort of like the creative osmosis thing, or the creative, you know. There's a word for it, but I'm not good with words. Um, yeah, unless your name is Opafamungus, yeah, yes, exactly. Your name is forfeit for everyone else. Like nothing that should be said a lot for really young artists. That nothing is ever truly creative. I had to kind of come to terms with this early. Um because for a lot of young artists, it can really hurt them, especially whenever you show someone a piece and they immediately say, "Oh, that reminds me of X. Oh, that's really similar to this," and that can really hurt an artist. Or again, a really young, up and coming artist that's not accustomed to that. Um, and I can only assume that that young artist perhaps, or I don't even think she was the artist, which is weirder. But regardless, Twitter drama is Twitter drama. Won't discuss it anymore. But anyway, it can be really hard for an artist to deal with that, because it can be like a double-edged like thing where they could feel like, oh, are you saying I'm not original, or you're saying that the thing I worked really hard on isn't my own. To me, I'm not bothered by that anymore. Like I've long past gotten over that phase of being an artist. I'm like, whenever I hear it, I'm just like, oh, I've never heard of that anime character, but okay, cool. It's like it's um a lot of the times, or if it's like a comparison, like, oh, this reminds me of Bloodborne, and I'm like, that's awesome. I love Bloodborne too. That's cool. I'll take it as a compliment. Um, but yeah, for a lot of artists, like, um, they can get really hurt about that when it's never the intention of the person giving me a compliment or making the comparison. It's more that especially to the lay person, they don't really know how to compliment art or give feedback to art in a helpful way. um the gut instinct to the human mind is to be like, thing, compare to thing that I know previously. It's just something that we do. And again, nothing is ever 100% creative. And that is just something that you have to get over as an artist. Um, our minds are built to interpret information and expel it out again, but maybe even just slightly different. Um, and so, like, that is how it do. So yeah, yeah. Only OG artist is the caveman. But the caveman, they were ripping off of those like horses and things that they were basing their art off of. It's yeah. Ah, dragon-headed. Oh yeah. There's so many cool caterpillars. Um I had the privilege of like holding a like hickory horn devil caterpillar before, which are like gigantic, um like thick caterpillars that turn into like the really big I think it's like the red I always forget what their actual name is called. Um but they these like bright green and like reddish orange horns and like black spikes. Like it's a cat, like this really metal looking caterpillar, but completely harmless. It's just made to look really intimidating, which seems to have worked out evolutionarily. Evolutionarily, moth lich, that could be awesome. The caveman that drew that thick goddess human. Human tastes have not changed at all. Yes. Ah, yes, the thick. It's the good time. I want to change the under thing to be a little bit more brown. But yeah, got a little bit of that stuff. Good moth. I like roly polies, or as the British would wrongly call them, pill bugs. That's my hot take. Yes. I have my fair share of isopods. And I do enjoy calling them roly polies. Even though people are just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, okay, a pill bug? Like, oh, okay. But although technically, they're not insects. They are crustaceans. Fun fact. Or they're close. They're not technically crustaceans. They're more related to a crustacean than they are an insect. Um, on the genus scale, they are really weird creatures. Um, Also really cute. Um, like a really adorable fact about isopods is that or pill bugs or whatever you want to call them. Um, uh, oh, here I'll answer this quick question though. I'll talk about isopods. So Sushi asks, I'm really sorry if this sounds offensive. I don't mean anything bad by it. I'm just curious. Are you the same person that ran this channel 2 years ago? It's just like the no, it's I get this a lot now, which is very, I guess it's a very much a compliment. But yes, I am. I had a very feminine voice back then. My voice got deeper on testosterone because I'm a trans man. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you. Yes, I am the same person. I guess that's a compliment. I keep having that happen. But yes, that's the issue about having a backlog with your original voice. But that be how it do. That trans D&D players represent. Started tea this past week, and yeah, voice changed overnight. Yeah, your voice will be sore for a while. Yeah. It's feel very soothing and nice. Yeah. Usually, like voices on tea, like it'll drop down an octave, but it won't be that different. And people kept saying I sound like I have a cold, but it's like, no, it's just because when you have a cold, it sounds like your voice is lowered an octave. But it be how it do. It Roly Poly says trans rights. I saw a couple, like there were like isopods that like instead of the little chitinous backplates being their usual color, they had little like pride flags, and I'm like, I don't usually get plushies, but that's really cute. But yes. Yo, I fangirl back there. I fangirl more intensely now. Lovely. It's all good. It's good. Yeah, because my trans announcement was very brief, and it went over a lot of people's heads. So, but that's all good. It's all good. I think I've just well, I don't think I've discussed this ever on stream, but to me, it doesn't bother me at all. Like whether or not people know, because if they find out later, like it's not something that I'm trying to keep from people. It's just something that I don't feel is important to the channel necessarily. Because I don't give any sort of like trans helpful tips or guides, like other channels might. And I don't necessarily plan on doing anything like that. But my reasoning is more if people don't know that I'm trans at the get-go, but then find out later, like they like my stuff, and then they find out later that I'm trans, maybe it'll change their opinion on trans people. I don't know. We can only hope, right? Yeah, I coughed up a trans. Yeah, that was the only thing that I gave. And a lot of people were like, what country's flag was that? And I'm just like, okay. It's just, it is what it is. But just that thing with the tongue. I don't think oh, that's not a tongue. The little, if that's the thing in this with the sketch. I think I originally had the the little head antennae going in a different direction than before. And yeah. It's good. They're in fact a beholder. I use they because I don't know your pronouns. It's fine. Like I say he him, but like he they is also fine. I'm like a proboscis. The tongue. Um, I, just because like anything other than she her is good for me is usually like, but like he him is usually my go to, and that's fine. But I do think the gender binary is a little bit BS. That's a little bit of a controversial statement, but like um it's more um like the concept or the weird social divides in gender are a little bit silly um to me, but and that's coming from a trans person, and that can sound weird, but it's more like um the weird societal expectations for certain genders I find silly. um the I enjoy like looking male and dressing more masculine for the most part. Um but but yeah, like it's just like some of these are just silly. But I don't know. Destroy the like, gender model. Be not non-binary for the win. Just will you ever do commissions? I my good sir Rexiom. Uh, I am I'm very swamped with work. Especially now with the book. I have no idea when I will ever open commissions ever again. Just because um I have not only this book that I'm working on, but an NDA project that I'm also working on uh along with that. So, and also the YouTube. Um so unfortunately, I really can't see myself anytime soon opening commissions, and I'm very sorry. I'm flattered, but unfortunately no, I can't. I don't have any it's like, oh yeah, I'm using Procreate. I mostly like Procreate just because Photoshop is really heckin' slow and clunky, and sometimes like I kept getting frustrated with it, and Procreate is just so much nicer where I can just kind of relax, draw wherever I want. um and there's a good number of professional artists that use it now like full time. I mean, it does most of the stuff that I needed to do on an illustrator front. I'm not showing off of most of its capabilities right now, but I mean, it can do a lot of amazing things, and they keep doing updates to it. And I think it's $10, and you keep it forever. I mean, that's pretty great. I used Krita a long time ago. Krita is pretty good. I will say. Um, like Krita has come a long way, and I would recommend it to anyone that wants to get into art and just wants to try out a new program, because I think Krita is free. And it's pretty robust. Um, I love to see the fact that more competition is coming out in terms of art programs. Like Blender has been amazing for the 3D market, and I'm loving that I'm seeing more of that come about um for art programs as well. I mean, it's great. It's great to see, because I feel like this isn't any like I feel like most people would be in agreement for fuck Adobe. Um they are a fat dragon on a hoard of gold, and they've grown old enough. Um and they I like to see new adventures, new programs stepping up to the plate, trying to dethrone Adobe, and dethrone Adobe. Cause good lord, um, like their entire business model. Oh no, you hear the lawnmowers going off. Yeah, Adobe is way too expensive. If there was like still a paid version of Adobe, like I wouldn't be as mad. But the weird live services model that they've cultivated, it's not good. And a lot of times, I say as someone that had a paid version. Oh goodness, they are mowing the lawns outside. It's great. Uh, apologies if you can hear that. So yeah, it's man. I say as someone who paid, had a paid version of Adobe. Um, every update was a risk. Eventually I just stopped doing any updates, and yeah. What brush am I think it's the shale brush. So yeah, it's shale brush. Um, that I'm just using to block it out. Initially. Uh, and I'm just using one of their I think one of their blend. I edited it a little bit, but the medium hard blend, just to get some of um the blend marks, and then I go back with some other brushes that I've. Usually, I just take the defaults and I like tweak them a bit. So, but most of the default Recreate brushes have been pretty amazing. Um, I will say they've been pretty great. It's been kind of a C in general, yeah. Um, is this the art that's going in the book? Maybe. Um, it just depends on if it kind of depends on if I show it to the team and if they like what's going on. There might be some edits, some reiterations. I am so sorry if you can really hear the lawnmower. It is loud. Well, I might. I'm tempted to mute for a second. um, it is what it is. What do you use for detailing? It depends on what it is. That's a really big statement. Um, I sometimes there is no method to the madness, and it's just whatever I'm feeling. It's yeah, I couldn't hear it until now. Yeah, because it's like right outside, and I'm very sorry. Um, uh, they, it just be how the neighbors do. You start a stream, and they're just like, ah, yes. In the middle of the day, in the heat of summer, that's the time to do lawn mowing. Okay. Usually I typically expect it to be in the morning, but I guess not. But they just want their time. They just yes, that's like every stream. That's always the risk you take. Go up to Lawnmower Man. Hey, I loved you in your movie. Indeed. My God. Um. But yeah, it's a good time. I'm trying to figure out. Um. Usually I just kind of like block out colors and just try to figure out things. I I wish I wish I had better like skills in explaining how or why I do the things that I do. It's just like happy little tree. I don't know. Um, looks like technical pencil. Um, uh, maybe oh, Silk stick. It's made my day. Oh, good. I'm glad. Silk stick. It's oh man. It I would love to have some like mechanical things to do with the silk. Maybe having like whole person or something, like a wraparound mechanic, or maybe the ability to produce rope at will. Could be a fun thing. Um just be like, I have rope. I will lower down the rope. It's just kind of like, oh goodness. Are you kidding? A new race based around the Lawnmower Man? Uh, let's hope not. Um, certainly. Need something with a web spell. Yeah, I was thinking that, but I think web is it first level or is it second level? Because I wanted it to be an early level spell, but web is really good. Um, that's certainly an option. I mean, silk can be woven into nets. Make a lasso, use the spell rope trick. A spider. Oh, silk rope whip. Oh, adorable. These precious little things. I really don't understand why there hasn't been an insect race yet that's canon. But I guess it's the same reason why, like, because for whatever reason, whenever Wizards of the Coast makes like an animal race, you get the neckbeards coming out in chat that are like, that's not even an like unique race. It's just an animal. Like, I like. I see that a lot across Reddit, and I'm just like, why, what? Ah, yes. Instead, I wanted 3 more subclasses for elf. The what I always wanted. um, right. Yeah, snares. Yeah, maybe it's good. God, what a John. He's absolutely a parasitic race. Oh God. Hey Ink. Damn it. Oh, Ink, I'm so sorry. Like, I started the stream and then blanked about going into the chat. I guess I can go in now. I still got I still have to go. Here, I will I don't know. Oh, I might be wrapping up in a few bit. I'll do it next time, Ink. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. That's my brain for you. Originally, I was gonna do it in the D&D animators Discord to have people join. And then I like was fighting with YouTube so long and the start of the stream that I like totally spaced. And I just started the stream and I didn't go into the Discord. Um ah that's my B. um Oops. Well, next time we're gonna do more streams regardless, so that is totally fine. Because I enjoy having other people to talk to, so it's fine, man. I was about to say, like, most of the D&D animators crew like don't get up early enough to join that stream anyway, so I was like, I don't even see anybody online. Oh well. It's my god. Yes, Pangola leaks. So yeah. So I was gonna move on to the Pangolan. We kept going back and forth on the name, on whether or not to call it the like the Golan or Pangolin. Um, and I think we're probably settled in Pangolin. Uh, just because it's just easier to understand. I mean, it is what it is. Um, I want hug. Yeah, it's just we just wanted to, because we had so many already that were more based on like that seemed better suited to be, you know, your typical like spellcaster fare that were dainty, and we wanted to get some like some more thickness. And also because I really wanted to do a nod to my very first comic um that I made, my first web comic. It was like my first foray into things online, and I had made a comic called Pest Caravan. Um and this race is sort of a nod to the main character of that, uh Amber, whose race is very similar to the pangolin. It's based off of a well, several different kinds of chitinous mammals. Um, it's my favorite animal ever. Yes, they're so good. And but the direction that I took for the race for the comic was the pyromancer. I for that comic for Pest Caravan, I thought of like the genius idea of like inventing races for all of the D&D classes and calling it that. And it just got really confusing because I would be talking about bards, but I would be referring to the bard as a race, and it was a mess. So this was the pyromancer race technically. Um Although I don't think we're gonna give them any uh fire-based spells, just because that would be, I mean, like I'm already gonna give them some digging abilities that are here, I'm just using the music, that's because it's a little bit loud. um but yes. Oh, pangolins are second most track of the, yeah. Humans are the first. Oh no. That's, oh god. Yeah, you're right. I think China is actually finally cracking down on that, but it may be a little too late. But they're such beautiful creatures too. It's so unfortunate. Um I'm thankful that there are um conservation efforts, and I hope we can still see um you know, pangolins for like years to come, because good lord, they look at these beans. They're so good. They're like axolotls. They're too pure for this world. Uh just got here. What kind of races are there? So we've got the Opteran, which is the moth race. We've got the pangolin, which is the one here that is the thick, heavy bodied, heavily armored, the and hopefully one that has a dig speed, which is something that we're gonna have to playtest the crap out of. But I'm thinking of more that the digging is limited to like soft soils and things so that they can't break your dungeon. Um, it's it can be really something really interesting to give to a player mechanically. Um, because pangolins are really good at digging. Um, and yeah, and we've also got the Lolotl, which we started off with. I didn't do it in order. Um, which is the Axolotl Race. And coming up is the Mycelian, which you could only guess as to what that is. But yes, so we have a race with a fly speed, one with swim, one with burrow. Mycelian have a climb speed. It's certainly an option. I think we were gonna give the climb speed to the Rakin, which is the raccoon ferret based race. So that one's probably gonna go to them. The Mycelian, that doesn't make as much sense. I mean, you could make it make sense, but there's other things you can do cool with a hint, a perhaps little bit undead flavor, a little bit mushroomy flavor. But yes, back on this the subject of cool pangolins. Yeah, so giving them a dig speed. Originally, like I said before, it's based on the race that I invented for my my webcomic, and that likely no one has read, but that's fine. It's it's Pest Caravan if you want to check it out. It is unfinished. It will never I probably won't be returning to it, unfortunately. It's only because if I were to return to it, I would want to give it an overhaul. Because I started without a clear understanding of where I wanted the story to go, and I was like, yeah, probably should have done that. I just wanted to start, you know? I just wanted to start. I wanted to learn how to make webcomics, and these things happen. But anyway, so yeah, you've got your thick subterranean lovely boys and ghouls. And it would also be interesting to play up the I don't know if I'm gonna go with the comic canon, which the comic canon is too similar to what we've got going on for the Opteran. So instead, to change it more to maybe they're more hunted instead of they're hunted for their scales, which would make sense for a pangolin based race, that they're being hunted to extinction for their prize scales, perhaps are made for, like, you know, magical components. And that would suck big time if you were a member of that race. Actually, I think I'll just leave it as is. And I apologize if you can still hear the lawnmower. The lawnmower is it's singing the song of its people. Now this is a con race. Yeah, for sure. This is a con strength race. For sure. It's like you're thick and you're gonna get business done. And that's also the reason why it looks more draconic, with its like horns and like teeth and stuff, is because originally in the comic it was to be based more on pyromancy. But I really enjoyed the look, and I wanted to have a nod to it in the book. So I was like, it just looks cool. So I'm just gonna do it. So and that's a big reason why people pick player races anyway, is because hey, it looks cool and I want to play as it. And having a thick race. Unfortunately, AC is something that can certainly break campaigns and player builds. So it'll probably be only limited to like a 1 AC increase. Maybe even a 1 AC, or maybe a 2 AC. Well, that might be too much. Maybe just a 1 AC, because the races aren't supposed to be the end all be all for people's builds. It's supposed to mostly come from the class, because that's where most of the power comes in. I'm almost tempted. Good lord. The thickest of races. Loxodon, the thickest of races. Yes, very true. But yes. Alright, I don't know why I'm getting Reaper Leviathan vibes right now. I mean, Reaper Leviathan is pretty cool. It's a cool bean. Yeah, there are a couple, races, not only just the Turtle, Simic Hybrid has the option of getting a plus to AC. The Warforged has an option for addition to AC. Through sub races, I think. But yeah, it's so it wouldn't be too much of a stranger to that. I can't remember because I've never played a Turtle. If Turtles, I think they have a negative walk speed. I think they might have a walk speed that's lessened as its drawback. There's something going on there. Is Simic Hybrid available? Yeah, it's canon. It's in the Ravnica Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I really enjoy Simic Hybrid so much just because there's so many options for you to build a character around. It adds just the taste, just the tiniest taste of that third edition ability to craft whatever you want. I wish we had more of it. I would love to see it, but 5e is the way it is. But I do not give further bonus AC. So Wolftail, that the problem is with that is that buffing a player's AC too much causes combat to be a little problematic. So one player like will have a massive AC, like even 1 point can make a huge difference. And that's why a lot of DMs and purveyors of homebrew hesitate on increasing AC, at least to a large degree, is because you can make some really broken builds with it. And because you can end up with an AC that's like 20 plus really early out of the gate, and especially if you roll really well, and it causes problems where your party will have such a disparity of like I guess AC to the point where your DM is kind of left with like it's not the hugest deal, but it's something to be mindful of. Because when you're building an encounter, you have to be mindful that okay, this particularly built trying to think of like the most broken, like you could have like a shield paladin that's a warforged that took everything into buffing their shield. You can end up with something huge, right? And That's why, like, you want to keep the party pretty balanced. Also, hey, Lawnmower, how's it going? um, I'm just gonna mute myself for just a moment. Give me. I'm gonna say it's gone, and then it's gonna be right back. It's like, it's good. They're gonna. I love how, like, the grass outside wasn't even remotely like tall at all. Like, there are like dirt patches now, like where they've shorn it so short. Um, it's like, is it necessary? I'm sure it's just maybe they're hired and that they they'll mow the lawn even though if it doesn't need it because they'll get paid. Um, but good lord, just scalp the earth. Where's your lawnmower? No, I know, I know that I knew it was muted. Um. Uh. I also, people keep asking for a Discord server. I don't. Oh, it's back, man. Yeah, you really you got to scalp the earth. um, but no, I don't have a Discord server. Um, yeah, yeah. So long as you have it so that Salty Job. So long as you have it so that if they wear armor, it's negated, which makes sense. That's also very helpful. Um, it's just something to be mindful of. Um, and it's that's the thing, right? Is we could do like 2+ AC, but then we wouldn't have that much room for much else to add to the race because that would already be huge um to give to a player as far as like benefits. Because like we also wanted to add, like, what would make sense would be like a dig speed, a like dark vision, because every race has to have dark vision. This would actually make sense. I for the like for the life of me, I don't understand why certain races get dark vision and why some races don't. Like, for example, like, why do elves have dark vision? Like, that I never understood that. Like, drow makes total sense, right? But elves, like, I don't. Dwarves, it makes sense. Elves, like, I don't. I okay. But anyway, when they have tremor sense, um, that's something that I would love to playtest. Giving a player tremor sense, would that break anything? Um, I don't think it would. Uh, like, giving it like tremor sense, like, you would be able to, like, technically hear around doors automatically, and that might take away the fun from some other players. Because tremor sense, right, is almost like Topps from Avatar: The Last Airbenders' ability to just kind of feel the earth. Um, and while it makes sense, it may take away other people's fun. Where you automatically succeed on checks to um yeah, it's one of those you have to kind of weigh. Yeah, pain of someone who likes a was someone who likes illusions. Um, but yeah, it could be. Makes it easy to see traps and such. Yeah, I was thinking that could probably mess up a dungeon pretty hard if a player has tremor sense. Because that applies to everything in the earth. So you would automatically know where pit traps were. That takes away the fun of a rogue who took search trap. I forgot what it's dungeon delver, dungeon something. Where you can find traps easily. Like that would probably break the game. It because you want to be able to make players roll for that sort of thing to find the traps. That's a huge mechanic in D&D that just gets thrown out the window. It's also the reason why, for our not Nothic race, uh, it's for for the I'm trying to remember what we actually are calling it. Cyclopean, yes, Cyclopean. Um, we did not give them the true sight ability that is innate to to such creatures, because that would be really game breaking. How do pangolins view goblin? I feel like pangolins would be that just mildly territorial, but I would love for for the final pangolin to be look like a very intimidating race, like huge, thick, bulky, very draconic looking. Um, however, they're very gentle and friendly. And they just get a bad rap, which would be in kind to the nod to Pest Caravan, um, where like everyone's intimidated by this race because they look really, really heckin' scary and they're really huge, but they're kind of teddy bears. Um, and they it's like if they find you delving into the dungeon, they they'll be like very, very quick to help you find the way out and just be like, it's kind of like you fell into their home and they're just like, okay, the fastest way would just to be like to direct them on the way out. Just to be kind and just like, mm-hmm. uh oh yeah, Elias, if you don't stop spamming, yeah. I think Elias died. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Is Pest Caravan? Yes. um but yes. Oh, follow me person's out of the way. Oh, that's good. So totally missed that. Appreciate the help. I want the pangolin to hold. Oh, is sweet bean. Is good sweet bean. Um, but yeah, having a race that is like thick but gentler in nature, because I don't know there there's the furbolg, but they look sweet already. Um, so one that looks innately terrifying but is actually like, oh, it's okay. Come on in. We'll feed you some, some mushrooms and some underdark fare, and we'll send you on your way. Um, they're just nice. And like their mantra is more defense than offense. like because they are more like walls. They're usually comfortable in knowing that not much can hurt them. Um, and so they've sort of developed a demeanor of like kind of defensiveness. Oh, well, thank you, Geki Ergen. It's all good. You don't have to be every stream, but I appreciate it. Um, yes. Our feats in the book. I don't. That is the one thing that I don't think we had any plans to develop for feats. Because we already have so much else in the book. We actually did a breakdown quite recently of what all is in the book, and we were like we discussed it briefly, like, are we gonna put feats in? And we were just like, we have so much to focus on, like, let's just do this. Maybe for book 2. Maybe for book 2 you can maybe think about it. But yeah, I think, oh, let's see. But yeah, big babies. What do you think of racial feats? I think racial feats, I'm of two minds. I think they're kind of dumb. Like, I like the flavor, but like on their face, like there's no reason why you can't reason you can't reasonably give it to any race, right? Like, what is the one? I'm trying to think of a couple of them. Like, there's a huge amount for like Elf and for Dragonborn and all the main SRD races, and but like, just I don't know, just like flavor it more neutral, and just allow anybody to take, because it's so limiting. It's I don't know. I don't particularly like them, but um things feats are always really touchy. Yeah. Yeah. Feats can break games more than anything, and that's why we're like, we kind of want to focus our playtesting efforts on like the monsters and things, and like feats, like especially homebrew feats. Like, if a DM is gonna like slap down anything, it's gonna be the homebrew feats. Like, I feel like I would do that too as a DM. I'd just be like, "Oh, no, you brought a homebrew feat," because feats can be. I mean, oh man, yeah, it's gay business. Um, Lord, how to pay Jess money? I, I think it's like YouTube super chats. It's something that YouTube encouraged me to do, so I was like, okay. I don't know if that helps with algorithmically, because like I know for whatever reason YouTube hates it if you don't monetize your videos. It's so dumb. YouTube is a frustrating business to venture into. But can they curl up into a ball? Uh I would think so. I would think you could certainly curl. I don't know if you could curl up like 100%. I almost envision, if you know those enemies in Hollow Knight that were isopod looking, that were like they could curl up and like shield their faces. I could imagine it's sort of that situation, where they can curl up most of the way, but not enough to like roll around like a Goron or something. um, but I don't know, if your DM allows it, allows it, like, anything's possible. Oh, things. Okay. Yeah. Chat disconnected for a second there, so like Okay, YouTube. YouTube's having a small seizure, but that's fine. It's because I talked about YouTube negatively. Oh no. I wouldn't doubt for a second. They've got that capability. Yeah, it knows. Um, what do you think of the heritage introduced into Van Richten's? I haven't checked those out yet. I need to. I am intrigued because heritages are, well, that's like a Pathfinder thing for one, and two, like it's intriguing. Um, like the armadillo to roto, yes. Uh, good lord. Anyway, um, well, yeah. This is really like a rough version of this, like early paints. But it is what it is. I might have to move on because it's getting a little bit late. Not huge late, but a little bit late. And I do want to check out what in the world how the polls are going, but I won't check it until the end. Um but at any rate, we'll see. So all right, we've got thick pangolin. Let's move on to the one that people are most curious about. Um, it's what one that I'm still trying to develop the look for because I'm not 100% happy with it yet. Um, but it's interesting. Let's go. So we've got a semi undead Myconid race. So the issue with a lot of homebrew undead races, right? And I think there's one actually in development right now. Oh, there might be in Unearthed Arcana. Um is actually that's a boy zombie, yeah, mushroom zombie people. Um is that um you encounter some of the same problems as would a Warforged, and a lot of reasons why DMs don't like Warforged is that it can be very limiting in terms of trying to have fun, having like rations, fun times with like food or drink or anything, or even traps that involve breathing. Or Warforged. I know a lot of DMs got a little bit frustrated on that front, and that the same problems crop up with Warforged as would having an undead race. Um, where like, okay, well, one, like they're undead, they don't eat or drink, they don't, they like a lot of the rations that wouldn't make sense. Um, so so instead, having a kind of synergy of having a mushroom that was the reanimator. So the Mycelians, right? So I use the Last of Us clickers as reference. I mean, it makes sense. Um, yeah, when it comes, you can, yeah, and that puts you on hard mode as far as healing with an undead. Um, there's also a lot of like weirdness with Warforged. Like, can you heal a Warforged with like cleric healing? But with this, with the Mycelians, you are healing the organic fungal matter that is keeping your essence. Is essentially animating your essence. Um, you're keeping that alive to keep you, still stable. Um, and sort of the idea behind this race was, again, like cordyceps, right? Your Last of Us fare, but also I was trying to think of other things. My train of thought just like derailed for a second there. Um, yeah, well, also having like different modes to have fun as a somewhat undead race. So, for example, you could have been the product of a druidic necromancer, um, or something, or it could have been some wild magic that, some mushrooms were growing on your corpse. Suddenly, you came back to life, and that's always a fun thing to play off of. I know there are some like uh canon 5e backstory, like backgrounds that involve that, um especially like a Warlock of the Undying, for example, and making pacts with liches. Spore Circle Druid, certainly a perfect fit for that. um right, and so I wanted to go over like why there are extra skulls and things attached to some of these. So um some of my thoughts were, if you are the product of wayward necromancy, um, you could, in fact, like be kind of an amalgam of different bones. And so, for example, like a draconic sorcerer Mycelian would have like like perhaps a dragon skull attached onto their form, uh, and have a little bit of that draconic magic bloodline kind of filter into them. So yeah, it says dramatic flair. Uh, sorry to say, it's very similar without the mushrooms. Yeah, that I haven't looked over Van Richten's, and I've had this like concept for a while. It's the tragedy, right? Um, but I haven't looked over Van Richten's yet. That's, again, that is the issue of creative osmosis. Nothing is ever truly creative, but it is similar. But we're hoping to develop in a very different direction, um, and we may take it further into the Myconid route in the very as far as at the end point. This is kind of like the early development. Um, Intelligent clickers from Last of Us. Yeah, very similar. Dragon skull for chest. You are a mushroom. Like you're a mushroom. Better than being a walking husk. Right, and that was also some of the ideas as well on whether or not you would even understand or have part of your sentient nature from your previous life at all, or if you would just be the mushroom and not understand anything. Um, that's certainly like an interesting juxtaposition as well. Uh, Decide kind of thing. But smart part of the fungus don't have to be limited to humanoid shapes. Yes, it's true. And also, so for druids, you could certainly have more interesting wild shapes, as it were, um, to go off of. But yes, it was really the dev team. We were like, we really want to do a mushroom race. And we're still trying to figure that out. And we were playing off of ideas. So this may not be the final look to these creatures, but we'll see. We have already mushroom enemies that we've already developed and finalized, but they look a little too monstrous for that, as far as suffice to say. Imagine this with Parasite Warlock. A skeletal fungal bear would be terrifying. It's like slime. Oh, my slime mold mycelians. Oh, disgusting, but also amazing. But yes, it's good. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Trying to think of what other things to discuss. There was uh we are at the moment wrapping up the mushroom adventure with the veiled lady, and coming up with the concepts for the monsters involved with that was really fun, because we decided to um do a lot of the basis on the existing classes and do myconids that are shaped by those classes, because I don't know, not to have too many spoilers, but the perhaps adventurers that didn't fare too well against this particular boss were cultivated, how shall we say, into you know, little minions, and doing a like barbarian based myconid, a rogue based myconid, a spellcasting myconid were very fun. Also, oops, do that. There we go. It's good. Like a hive mind. Yeah, that could also be. Also was an idea that perhaps like the soul of the dead dragon, especially with the case of the draconic sorcerer, um, still kind of like is alive on the inside. Um, would make a fun warlock as well. Everything would make a fun warlock. That's because I'm biased. um, just to sort of have those thoughts of maybe even your past life echo back in your brain. I'm saying these things, and probably the reborn from Mordenkainen's that I haven't read yet is of a similar vein, and I'll be sad. um, we'll do our best to make it a unique specimen. Um, but that's like most characters, right? It's fun to have a history of some kind to explore with your character. And unfortunately, doing just a mushroom, which I had the thought of doing just a mushroom, just like a mushroom race, uh, and it didn't feel as interesting, but there might be something there. Um, the warlock itself and their patron. Oh God, that line between symbiotic parasite is a fine one. Oh, good lord. Certainly, certainly a time. Um, is the lawnmower man gonna be an Easter egg in Heliana's guide? I mean, I it feels that way, certainly. Um, but good lord, it's a time. Uh, he's just an NPC that you kill off instantaneously. No, not to. He's just doing his job. Um, Warlocks are symbiotic by nature. Sentient mushrooms? Mario Brothers. You get to be Goomba. Lawnmower Man is the big bad evil guy. Yes, Inc. Certainly. But yeah, I'm trying to we're going a little overtime on the stream. So I think since I have a lot so I'll wrap up the Mycelians for now. And We'll see. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna now check what the Uskin thing. Let me look at the results. All right. So results. All right. It's over. Okay. So overwhelmingly, it is. It looks like 64% for the Oozkin. Sharkkin at 36%. Okay, so it looks like the Oozkin has taken the day. Ooze boys. So all right. Good lord. God. All right. Let's do. It's like ooze childs. Slime boys. I'm so sorry for people that wanted the Sharkkin. We, it might be included in Heliana's book too. We'll say that at least. All right. My God, Oozkin. I like to imagine Oozkin were or maybe maybe they were Oblexes that decided just to be adventurers, just to be good boys. I'm trying to even think, because I don't want to do a changeling. I don't want to just do like a shapeshifter. I really want to play up the ooze aspect. Maybe even that they don't even have feet. Or maybe they have feet, but it's very trippy. Yeah, I did want to play a gelatinous cube once. It was more of a joke, but not really a joke. Oh god, it's like that meme of Jelly Wizard, where it's just a gelatinous ooze with like a like a wand of like fireballs or something stuck into it. What kind of nerds have feet? Oh god, immune to piercing damage, cannot be contained in ropes. Let's see. I'm trying to think. So I've always wanted to do an ooze race, but it's always something that's so hard to think about, to consider. Because how do you even make armor work? Like are they in the armor? Is it free flowing in the armor? Is it is ooze uh would they have let's see. Let's try that again. Would they be tall? Would they be small? It's always an interesting thought, because like some of my initial ideas for the ooze race would be, it'd be very fun to be able to play around with acid, or having acid spray as a cantrip, or having um certain dissolving abilities, but trying to figure out ways to not make that broken. Because like, I come to a door, I dissolve the handle, like it's a little too broken. um uh it's like we don't want to make a race that makes it unfun for the rest of the people at the table. uh Certainly. Look at his big strong arms, he's so strong. um Good lord, he's doing his best. uh God, maybe the how does an ooze even emote? I feel like maybe maybe giving some of the aspects of the since the Mycelian is so apparently so close to the Mordenkainen's, giving aspects of the hive mind ooze instead to the oozekin might be interesting, because they certainly can amass a collection of skulls and dead things that float around inside of their form. Hmm. Some injuries. Maybe. Skull whose forms a simplistic face. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What would be like? Should it be things that are floating inside the ooze that sort of form a facial structure? It's doing its best. You got like your two bones. Like they're like rat bones or something, like small. Oh god. That might that might be too horrifying. Um let's do where it's like a darker face. Um maybe it's like digested material, but it just kind of does its best to congeal it into a face. It would be nice maybe to not have the acidic ability so much. Maybe just having cantrip acid spray. Um because then that comes down to DM discretion. Instead having more abilities to get out of tough situations. Um what is that one? It's like a 4th level spell that allows you to like slip out of grasps more easily. Uh that could be a good one. Glass jar, please. Pick up loot and coins. Oh, coins and crystals as eyes. Oh, that could be very cute. Um yeah, it doesn't hold anything. It just it contains everything inside of its body. Um and so it's holding the armor plating like on the outside of its body, I suppose, if it were to wear armor. Because unfortunately, you still have to figure out ways for that to work for any character, and for an ooze that could be problematic. Oh, maybe you could have reach. That could always be fun. Some reach abilities. Ooze boy. Oh no. It's gonna have an axolotl face. Is good boy. My god. It has it has to make like pieces of paper or or like things like different. It has like masks inside of it that it like rotates to have different emotions. Oh god. This is when you want to play Octodad in DoD. I feel like yes, I am human. It tries to like stomp around with things. I feel like even though it could still potentially, unlike a lot of oozes, it could probably still fall prone. Because there's too many other optional um hmm, little goops. Little goop legs. He's so goopy and happy. I do like the idea of having like a Naga body at the bottom, almost. I do like that. Like having a little slithery boy. Um, he's like a little Jabba the Hutt. He's so fat. I don't know. It's so because they. Hmm, what's for slithery? Yeah, Avengers I don't like since grapple. They're not wearing armor. Eh, non-magical versions. Limited per day. Cost health to be used. Oh yeah, that could be interesting. Um, let's see. Who's boy? Little slithery boy. Him doing his best. Um, he's got all of his bits, all of his gold stored away. I feel like if you ever went to town, like you would really have to have trouble unless you had disguise self. um to make an oozkin not be attacked on sight. He's just trying to do his best. Ah, poor thing is constantly moist. Yeah, I'm trying to debate on how humanoid I want the face to be. I want it to be like contained within a oh, okay, there we go. Obes was like, "Oh no." But no though. Let's see. It's got masks. Or maybe maybe it just has stuff in there. It just has a collection, like a dark collection of stuff that it kind of it's almost like Rorschach that it kind of forms into a face on occasion. Um the collection of stuff that's in there occasionally just kind of presents itself as a face. Oh wait, 1 second. I need to delete a few things. Gotten uh too full of things. Right. I made my canvas size too big. um all right. I'm trying to think. Should we go full alien maybe? Maybe more alien like? Ignore difficult terrain. Mm-hmm. Disadvantage in dry weather. That would be really hard unless your DM is very specific. Uh but usually oozes don't have any problem anywhere. I mean they usually subsist in like other environments, but there's nothing in the monster description itself that make would assume that it would have problems because usually they're like more magical. Now it looks like the SCP. um, hmm. Should we do handsome ooze? I feel like we could maybe do handsome ooze. We'll do like a more presentable ooze where it's like trying to think how to handle the tendrils. It's like, ah, yes. High class ooze. Ah, yes, hello, I am ooze. Do like, yeah, I'm definitely thinking, like some reach abilities would be definitely good for Oozkin. We'll have to figure out ways to make this work, but dual swords. Position sticks into angry expression. Oh god. Oh no! Would it gain a carrot craving? Oh, that would be fun flavor. Like things that stick into it. It's it starts to take on aspects of things that it absorbs. Does that mean it absorbed a lot of people before? That moment when like a standard ooze just like eats so many people it becomes sentient, and maybe it has to reconcile the fact that it ate so many people. um it's a it's certainly a problem. But that's a risk factor. That's what a news do. That could certainly be, yeah, I do like that for flavor. It's good flavor. Mm. Cast this form with no flight once per day. Like what ooze can think of other oozes. I feel like uh I feel like it's the same as how we feel about like other mammals. Like they have respect for them. And they could even like try to befriend them maybe, but there might be a way for them to communicate. Maybe that could be a fun thing that you gain the ability to communicate with oozes. Um, but if they can, but that's the thing, right? Whether or not they think less of them is up to your character. Uh, you might have a stuck-up aristocratic oozkin that's just like, I am now above all oozes. I am the perfect form. Uh, or others like, oh look, it's Jeff. Hey Jeff, how's it going? Its best quality is Wiggles. Do they have ooze dogs? I mean, I feel like standard oozes would be their ooze dogs, right? Um, that they would. That's because they would treat other oozes like animals. And they'd just be like, and they'd just be like, they're not the same. They don't operate on the same principles as I do, but they're still cool, I guess. Um, uh, it's like it's yeah. Maybe they gave up a lot of their acidic flair in order to transcend. Or maybe this is what happens when you awaken an ooze. um. So wait, yeah, I I don't think it would be telepathy, and that's the scary part, right? Um, I think they would almost like have to find ways of communicating by rubbing objects together to form a pseudo like larynx. Um, and therefore they can sound really awful. Because I feel like it's too many things have telepathy, and it's like, okay, that feels like a cop out. But having all of them sound a little different because they're all using different materials in order to like speak could be really rad. They just vibrate their whole body. It starts to talk by pushing gas out of itself. I mean, that's all we do. I mean, that's we're pushing gas out of a an organ, making vibrations happen. Um, and this could have just figured out how to do it. Mm. Who was that swallowed a harp? um, oh good lord. Uh, I feel like by default it can maybe have like a mage hand type situation where it could like grab things, manipulate objects from farther away. 'Cause you got long tendrils, you should be able to use them. But, right. That's what I was thinking, is that they have kind of like Rorschach expressions where they move around the collection of bits and baubles they've got around on their face. Um, to sort of emote in different ways. Like they could have like different ones can form different collections that they use for their face. Like some of them might have, like I think was discussed earlier, like crystals or like marbles or like coins, like just to emote. And you can have fun describing that to your horrified players, fellow players. Just be like, ah, yes, I'm angry. You know, uses like two red crayons and dips into face. Dips two red crayons into face. Ah, yes, this is unsatisfying situation. um, reach or attack distance, yeah. Um, they could disguise themselves as regular ooze. Yeah, but why would you want to disguise yourself as so, as a regular ooze? I don't. I guess it could scare people, certainly. Um, good lord. I just love the idea of oozkin just because it's a lot of like playing an alien that's just like, ah yes, this is what the people do. And just like throws, takes food, puts it into directly into stomach. Ah yes. This is where the food goes. It's good. Um uh, disguise as square boy and do square sit. Yeah, I don't know if ooze can have all that much ability to shapeshift. But they can probably alter their like form slightly. Um just to but not in a way that's like game breaking. Like I form into a wolf and now I do wolf attacks. Like no. It doesn't go that far. But unless you had the druid, if you had like the druid class, then yes, I would, like, as a DM, um be like, okay, yes, you form into an ooze wolf, which could be fun as hell. um Hugh Man, the ooze adventurer. uh it's just a good boy. um he just got like little bits. I feel like having the oozkin like be the person that holds the bag of holding, like it just like inside of itself. And of course, like people could still steal from it, but they just have to go, you know, spread out of it. Could a changeling change into an oozkin? I mean, that's the thing, right? Uh, It's humanoid enough. Because the changeling stipulation is that you have to have the same basic arrangement of limbs, but um, Oozkin is taking it a bit far. It's similar to how changelings can't turn into Aarakocra because they don't have wings. Um, I mean, they could. It just would be a wingless Aarakocra. Um, so I feel like a changeling would have a lot of trouble turning into an Oozkin. Can Oozling change into a changeling? No. I don't want to give the Oozkin the ability to because you can, if you want to, you can get spells to modify your appearance and have things happen that way. I would like to, with the Oozkin, have some light flavored ability to change forms, like change mild shapes but not color or texture or anything. Um, but and you still have to like occupy the same space or so. But I could definitely see actually I could definitely see maybe at later levels like granting a sort of misty step ability where you can kind of under door frames maybe. That could be very fun. Like a teleportation ability. Um, however, you would have to discard all of your, similar to like lycanthropy, you would have to like discard all of your stuff in order to make it happen. So it's limited because you would have to like doff off all of your armor and all of your protections. Um, but it might be worth it. Um, could you smuggle a party member as an oozkin by using your ooze body? I I would say no because if oozkins are like medium-sized creatures, like that would be really difficult. Um like oh god, that's something to workshop, like if there's any kind of engulf feature. If you occupy the same space, um do you start to drown them? It could be fun, but again, has to be limited. We can only have so many abilities on a player race. Um, but anyway, this was a fun time. Uh, my lord, had a really good time streaming. Been streaming for a good long while now, and so I need to go have sustenance. But hope you guys had a great time, and hopefully have another one sometime next month. They'll probably be maybe going over some of the monsters that we have planned. So updates on that front. And yeah, I think that could be fun. Fun to do. And yeah. All right. Have a good day, everyone. We'll be like, doing these kind of updates and stuff and as development proceeds with the book. All right. Take care, everyone.